Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, and hello, Miss Helena.
Hi, Heather.
I am trying to go live on Instagram. This is a new thing with StreamYard. You can go live in lots of places, which has been the case, but now there's an Instagram there. It just takes a minute for Instagram to let us go live. Okay. Now I'm going to close it so we don't echo. All right. So here we are. In all the places. So Helena and I are part of the creation of a really beautiful class coming up called The Gift of Profit, which we named this live. And it's been a really cool, we've also been part of a lot of conversations lately over the past, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so, 5-6 months, about profit as a really different, from a very different perspective. And Helena, if y'all don't know Helena, she is an amazing lady, lives in Berlin, just such a special creature in the world and in my world. Yeah, there's like, I'm like, how do you?
I'm like, I'm starting to profit from this right now.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So what is profit? What is profit, Miss Helena? From a
This
different
is actually a great question, because I have to say that when this whole conversation started at some point, when this kind of came up, I was like, I don't know what that is. But it's also not really true, but I kind of always connected it to money and to something that is like the profit of, my income. Let's say, I spend my money and then that's what's left, that's my profit.
Yeah.
But apparently it seems that's not really what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was also, because you look from even like there's a profit and loss statement, and it's called profit and loss because it shows you where you profit and where you loss from a numbers perspective, right? And so anybody in the financial world will tell you that profit is basically the money left over, after the expenses are covered. And yet there's this whole universe of profit that does not even touch. And I think for people that are seekers of the, in the world, that don't see things in black and white, the humanoids, as we call them, like though there is that, like, money for the numbers of it never made sense to me. It wasn't enough of a motivation to, like, tie myself into knots for the rest of my life so that I could have it. Because why? I don't know. You're just supposed to want it.
Yeah.
Because it makes you good. I don't know.
Yeah. What would you say, if we don't look at this from like this kind of reality point of view, but what is that for you? What is profit for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, and thanks to Gary Douglas and Dane Heer, the creators of Access Consciousness, because they were the ones that really started, like, opened up this conversation and started to invite anybody who was interested to a different conversation around it. So gave me a lot of awareness of this conversation of profit as the creation of future, and that's something that's way more interesting to me. And I think to a lot of seekers, humanoids, whatever you want to call them. And it's like, to me, that includes the earth, and it includes like kindness and communion and the energetics of things, and and that makes so much more sense to me. And we always say in Access Consciousness that money follows creation, and money follows joy. And so the thing about this different perspective on profit for me is money just follows that. It includes financial growth and wealth and all of that, but it's just so much bigger, and money is sort of just a byproduct of the creation of a future.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, and it's also, it's kind of like, for me, there's again, for me, what comes up is again this conversation about money, because I get that a lot of, you can come from this point of view of like, yeah, I cannot create certain things for my future, or can't create my future because I don't have the money. Like, I don't have the money to do this or that. But it's actually not how you create future. You actually have to look what you would like to create as your future, and then you have to start to choose. And that's then also where you actually start to profit, because you are starting to create your future. And this has not a lot to do with money in the end. Like,
Yeah.
that's part of it, because like if you really actively create your future, and in the greatest way possible, and the change you can create as well, the money will probably follow.
Yeah.
Like, as you just said, like, yeah,
And the thing is like, if you're creating a future, then you're creating what it is that you desire. Like, there's all these tools in access consciousness that we have of choice. I mean, choice is like such a huge one, and it's a massive conversation that 13 years of playing with these tools, and I'm still like, oh, now I get what choice is, but I know that's only for now. Like, there's going to be more,
yeah.
So, but it's like money could also go away as a construct, because that's really what it is something that was made up at one point and that everybody agreed upon. But it could go away. But if you're creating the future, like, it doesn't, like, whatever the world evolves into, like, we are evolving the world, and so, it doesn't, it's like, it just takes it out of the equation in a lot of ways. It's like, well,
Yeah. And
yeah.
also, that's also what I really like, enjoy, and also really, I mean, I love about, like, these classes as well, is that, that we explore so much, that where we are like, we don't even like imagine right now what it is beyond
Totally.
what we think right now. Like, we're kind of like scratching on the surface, like, okay, this is my sense of it. It's also, I thought it was really interesting when the title of the class came up, and I was like, that was the first time I actually started to look at it and started to ask questions around it. Like, yeah, what is it actually? It already put me into question, because I
Yeah.
always know it was not from the, okay, we talk about profit now from, hey, this is profit, what we spoke about in the beginning, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's just, so I'm very excited, because I know there's going to be so much more than what we right now think it is.
I know.
Yeah.
It's because the gift of profit, and for anybody
Yeah.
just joining us, we're talking about this
Yeah.
beautiful class coming up, and it's going to be a 4-day class held at El Lugar, which is a beautiful, incredible resort created. A resort doesn't even begin to describe. There isn't a word, but in Costa Rica, and it's also going to be online. 4 days, and Gary Douglas and Dane here facilitating it. And we've I think we've both done some classes with them recently, where it's like, I'm like, every sentence is this universe,
Yeah.
and that's the cool thing, is like, we can sort of like, be like, well, here's some things to play with, and then it's like, the class is basically in a month, a little bit less than a month, January 14th through the 17th. And we will go, like Helena said, like, places we have no idea. I mean, it will just, I know it's going to be just
Yeah. I'm
explosion.
already like,
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I wanted to also just kind of like, along those lines, like, going more to the energetics of this whole conversation. something that's been such a gift for me from looking from a different perspective at the creation of future as profit and profit as the creation of future, is that there are so many things that we, like, people that are seekers of the world, that are interested in creating a future. There's so many futures that we are always creating, and we often don't know, we don't follow those threads, because even like having a conversation with somebody on an airplane and being kind to them in a way that they've never experienced or whatever, they go off, and that, you don't know what goes on in their world, right? um, and but we can, I've learned so much to look from the energy of things, and when I do, it's like, because the conversation of money for the sake of money, in the world, it really tends to totally invalidate the energetic universes and the futures that we are creating. And I know I've used money, I've taken that on, as a way to invalidate what I create and what I be in the world, because if it doesn't show up in financially, it sort of doesn't count,
Yeah, wow.
So it's been such an invitation for me to see, and this is like just beginning for me, to see the wealth of my being and the wealth of what I'm willing to create, and like the futures that I am creating, from a totally different perspective that most people don't have, won't have, and to get out of the need for that, and really into the acknowledgement of like, okay, like the true gift is having a future on planet Earth and in the universe that is about communion and kindness and oneness and contribution, and with each other, with our bodies, with the earth. And that just like makes so much more sense to me.
Yeah. It's like, thank you for saying this with, this example that you said, talking to somebody on the airplane, and what future are you creating by just having a conversation with somebody you might just met.
Yeah.
But that's a very different thing, because this does create a future, and it creates maybe even a reality in that moment. And that's like this, for me, this is really like this, where we start to engage with everything, So how can we engage with people, but how do we engage with the earth? How do we engage with our bodies? Like, and what are we creating from there? And what would we like to create in the world? And that's, so thank you for saying that, because I totally perceived that already in a different way.
Yeah.
Right now. I can totally sense that from there, there's something opens up and starts to actualize, whatever.
Totally.
It's
Well, when we acknowledge something, you like shine the light of your being on it, and give it life and give it more of a future, and when we don't, that's more of the, monetary reality, prove it to me, numbers, plus minus, balance sheet kind of thing, where it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, if it doesn't, I mean, for so many people, if it doesn't translate into profit, money, the small version of profit, it's like, it doesn't count, it doesn't matter, and so I think so many people that are creating a different world through these, like, these little moments that don't seem significant, and they're not significant, but just that don't seem like they're doing anything, or they don't really count or whatever. You start to acknowledge all of that, and there's this massive wealth that gets created, like the wealth of being and the wealth of future in the world that everybody gets to have more of, and it's like changing the, turning the world on its axis to like, the world I want to live in is a world full of people that acknowledge that those are the things that are truly valuable,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like while you were talking also, like for me, I mean, I have been to Elgar. When was it? In October, I think.
Yeah.
For a class, and that really was like the moment for me where I could also sense like what creating future is, and exactly what you said about like, you know, for everyone who's going to be there in the future or is like going to experience this place, like this is so invites you to be totally different with everything. Like, cannot really explain how, but it's like I could sense what it did to me. Like it changed me. Like I started to look at things differently. I started to look at my future differently. Like, what would I like to create as my future? What would I like to create, you know, for the world, or what can I be in the world? And it's like, yeah, it's a different way of being.
Yeah, it really is. It's like the earth as this massive facilitator, and the entity of Elgar as a massive facilitator, that puts, it's like you set foot on the property and there's such a silence in your world, like immediately.
I have to smile. It's like,
Yeah.
it already makes me happy, you know, even if I just tap into the energy of it. It's like,
it is true abundance. I mean, really, like abundance. The first time I went there was like, it was a long time ago. It was, when I think they were even just still looking at buying the land. And we went and rode horses, and I just cried. I was just like crying and riding a horse. Like the earth was just like, and I was like, I think this is the kind of like, original, or I don't even really know what the word is, but it's like kind of like the energy of the earth that it has always been, you know, like unbastardized earth. That's exists in very few places, you know. And it was it has been, every time I've been there, like just such a facilitation of showing the ease, joy, and glory and elegance that's possible. And you know, even if you join the class online, if you don't come live, and you join online, because there is that possibility, it's like you still get to really receive that. Like the class is occurring there, and you know, everybody's brought into the fold, you know. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And that's like, I can totally kind of see that it's some sort of profit for me, you know, being there, and like this changing my whole world and changing what I demand, like of myself as well, or what I would like to create, or what else would I like to create. This is some sort of, I would say, for me, this has a sense of profit. Like I'm having profiting from it. Like it's
Totally.
yeah. This is like, yes, I mean, what if this, of course, also includes money? You know, like what if you actually allow from that, whatever that is, you allow yourself also to receive the money?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what are you with this? Like, what is this for you? And it's like, yeah.
Because to me, also, like when I look at the world I would like to live in, it's where also the people that get, you know, what is actually possible on the planet have money. Because money does facilitate the creation of a different, you know, you can create a different future without it. Absolutely. And it also makes it faster and easier in a lot of ways. Like there's a liquidity there. Gary, a long time ago, he did this call. I think it was called like Becoming Brilliant with Money. And he said he was talking about the difference between money, wealth, and cash. And he said, cash is the liquidity of possibilities. And I've just loved that ever since. there is this
Yeah,
ability of choice that occurs when you can just be like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like there's
yeah,
no, you know,
yeah.
nothing
It's like
there.
kind of like this question also, like, they like sometimes ask, like, so is it easier to change with money or without money?
Yeah.
And yeah, of course it's more ease,
Yeah.
like, so what if you allow yourself to have the ease,
Yeah.
which
Totally.
also, and then the money you can have the ease with money too.
Yeah.
So
Why not? It's all a
yeah,
choice,
yeah,
everything is a choice.
yeah,
And to me that I really get like, I mean, every conversation opens up the future for me of this energy, these energies of profit. And it's like, what about the profitability of choice? Having choice
mhm,
as a reality, knowing that we can choose whatever it is that we desire, and it will exist.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
profit
yeah,
and so much more. And I wonder what
yeah.
else.
Yeah, me too. It's like also what just popped up. It was like, yeah, and what if we actually also allow ourselves to relax? Relax into all of this, and there was a conversation on the last Being You class that just happened like last weekend, but about this, yeah, having patience.
Hmm.
I don't know why I'm saying this, but kind of this
Yeah.
place and this whole thing of, also creating profit and having the ease with it, having the ease with creating a future and
Yeah.
relaxing into it and allow it to show up with ease.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do it. Be it. Have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's going to be, so the class is going to be from January 14th until 17th in Elugar and online with Gary Douglas and Dane here.
And I don't know what the prerequisites are off the top of my head. I don't remember. So
I guess I know. I think it's a choice of possibilities.
okay.
Yeah.
So if you're brand new to Access Consciousness, I mean, you could, do a bars, a foundation, a choice for possibilities in the next month. If
Mhm.
you want to just fast track it, but
Yeah.
yeah, otherwise, that's kind of, you have to do bars, then foundation, then choice for possibilities, and then in that order. So if you wanted to take this class, but
Yeah. And if you hear this conversation and you only understand half of it because English is not your language, there's also possibilities for translation. So if you sign up, you can request translation.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
All right.
cool.
I'm looking forward. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Wow, even more so now. So thank
Yeah.
you, Helena,
Thank
for
you, Heather.
this, and thanks everybody for being here. Like, just fun to perceive everybody listening, and also in the future listening. And what can we create as a world that has never been available before? And what if it's so much more about what you know, what you be, and what you choose, than about the money that you have or don't have? And what if we could just have money too, because it's
Yeah.
fun?
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.